Hi there, it's Nicole from Mama Elephant, and today I've got this beach scene card showcasing the new Summer Days Stamps and Dies and also the Sweetest Greetings Sentiment stamp set. I'm going to start by die cutting this frame and circle cutout opening from some Bristol Smooth cardstock using an older die collection from Mama Elephant. This is all prettied up. Then I've also got some borders. I've got a border for the front using the Landscape Trio dies, and then I've got a couple of Ocean Wave borders as well using the Ocean Waves dies. So the waves are going to go back behind that opening. The Landscape Trio, which is going to be like the sandy beach, will go on the front. And these are the components that are going to build up for the scene part of this card. I'm going to go ahead and do all of my inking and coloring first. I'm going to take that sentiment from the Sweetest Greetings stamp set that reads "Enjoy Every Moment." These greetings are fantastic. They're a combination of a fun kind of basic font with a scripty font that are just wonderful for all kinds of different greeting cards. I'm going to use a powder anti-static cling tool, I guess I want to say, on my paper so that when I stamp my greeting with Versamark ink and sprinkle on that white embossing powder, the embossing powder should stick just to the stamped area and that embossing powder shouldn't migrate anywhere else. So I'll sprinkle that on. We're going to do a little embossed resist for that sandy beach. I'll go ahead and heat set this border using my heat tool. And I apologize for all the ink all over my hand. I refilled a couple of Copic markers and the red kind of exploded all over my hand. So it's not blood, even though it kind of looks like it. I was sporting that fantastic look for a couple of days. Next, I'm going to take some antique linen and gathered twigs distress ink and ink up my beach. These are my two favorite distress ink colors for coloring the beach. Starting with antique linen because it's a nice lighter brown color. I'm also using a scrap piece of paper to keep my fingers out of the ink. The Bristol Smooth cardstock will show your finger print marks in the ink when you're inking because the ink tends to sit on top of the paper and stay wet a little bit longer. I'll ink up that top edge of this border with Gathered Twigs Distress ink and then blend out again with my lighter color to get a nice seamless blend, and of course the greeting pops out there with the embossed resist. For my Ocean Waves, I'm going to use Salty Ocean Distress ink. It's an aptly named ink, perfect for ocean waves, and just ink up mostly that area where the two little peaks of waves kind of are on each border. I don't need the whole thing because just a small portion will be visible behind that opening in the base layer or frame. I'm going to spritz all three pieces with water from a distress sprayer and then blot that dry with a paper towel, and that's going to reveal some nice distressing. In fact, I wiped a little too much, so I'm going to spritz that again. And just add a nice finishing touch to all of these pieces. Some nice kind of dimension. Once I have all of my inking done here, I'm going to grab my frame and kind of lay everything out, make sure it's all going to work. Lay my waves back behind that opening, and it's going to give me a good idea of how much to trim off, and then I'm simply going to layer those back behind the window. Now, one thing that I did forget to do and that I will rectify is I am going to lay that back layer flat on my card base, and I'm going to pop up everything else just for a little bit of dimension with a piece of foam adhesive. It's going to just help those waves not blend into each other quite so much. Next, I'm going to take the adorable images from the Summer Days stamp set, the palm tree, the little piggy, sandcastle, pigeons, and I'm even going to pull in the little bucket, a beach ball, and a crab a little bit later. Originally, I started with these. As I built the scene, I felt like I needed a few more supporting elements, so I went back and grabbed a few more pieces. I've stamped everything with the Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink. This is a great ink for Copic coloring, and then I'm going to color everything in with Copic markers. One way to make those palm tree leaves look a little more realistic is to not do quite so much blending. So I'm going to show you the first palm tree here, lay it down with a base color of YG21, and then I did go back in and kind of just add some gentle shading with my mid-tone, blended that out. I'll go back with a little bit darker marker even, the YG17, and I kind of just did a little detail down the middle of the leaf, and then I blended, and it just was too much blending. So to get around that, I'm going to let this sit for a minute till the ink dries all the way. I'm going to color in my leaves with a base color of YG21. Go ahead and do all the rest of my palm tree leaves. And this is really yellow. These are yellow-green markers, but this particular color's got a lot of yellow in it that you can see. Then I'm going to go in with YG17 and feather down the center of each leaf. Kind of just draw a gentle line and then feather out from that line. And this is going to give each palm tree leaf lots of dimension. But still, a lot of that YG21 is visible. So then I'll go back and feather over that with YG23. And that's going to blend it out enough into that base color to be perfect for very dimensional colored palm tree leaves. I do not have to do any more coloring over that. No more blending. That's perfect. So I went back and fixed that first palm tree leaf then after that. Go ahead and color in the coconuts with some shades of brown with E40 and 43 and 44. Same for my sand castle. I want all of these colors to blend into the sandy beach that I've got along the bottom of my card. This is my favorite color combination for that. Put a little dotted detail into the bottom of that image just to kind of give it the look of sand. Go ahead and color in this little coconut or half coconut that the pigeon's standing on, or a little pile of sand. I don't know what it is exactly. Then for the little pink pig, this is my favorite color combination for coloring in pigs. It's a very peachy pink, I think, with R000, R30, and 32. Base color is R000. I'm going to blend in with my R30, and then I'm going to go back with R32 and be pretty careful with how much I lay that color down and keep blending those three colors together till I get a nice seamless transition. The R000 has a lot of colorless blender in it, so you might want to be a little careful with it because it could bleed if you don't give it enough time to dry. For the drink in the cup, I added some blue colors for the glass itself and the contents. R24 for the straw. Go back over the couple of little areas on the pig. Blend out those, add some dark color for the cheeks, and then blend that out with the lighter color again so it's just not quite so harsh. A little red for the flag on top of the sandcastle, some warm grays for the pigeons, and then a little orange for the beaks. Very, very light with the warm grays. And some yellows for that little starfish. Here is my kind of base. I'm going to put that one wave on my card base itself and then cover the back of my frame with foam adhesive. I'm going to need to trim it down a little bit to fit around that opening just right. And I want to make sure that it doesn't like compress in any area, so I like to be pretty generous with my foam adhesive. I can go ahead and pop that in place right on my card base. Adhere my beachy scene over the top of that. Just grab all of these little backing pieces first. I want to make sure it was all going to fit before I committed to putting it in place. Some nice strong adhesive on the beach, going to attach that right on top along the bottom edge of the card, and then simply start attaching the components with some glue dots. So a little palm tree to the right of the frame. My little pigeon sitting on a coconut there. The central point of the frame is the palm tree with the little pig sitting next to it. Everything else lends itself to telling this story or this scene for the card. And the pig is really going to need a little foam adhesive on top of the head. This piece was way too big. I'm going to cut something a little smaller just to fit there. Since his head sticks up a little bit, I think that'll secure it a little bit better. Just a little piece of foam tape. Some additional small glue dots. Attach the sandcastle next to him. Try to figure out the best place for the other pigeon. And all along, my plan had been to put him on the head, but then I couldn't decide if I wanted to do that or not. And I went ahead and did it. I thought it was cute. Some Stardust glitter pin really helps give the feel of sand. Black glaze pen for the eyes and the details on the coconuts. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp a crab and this little bucket. Color those in with Copic markers and then add that, or die cut these with the Coordinating Summer Days dies and add them to the scene to finish off my card. This is one of those things where as you get to the end of the design and building the scene, you might see that you need to fill in with some additional elements, and these stamp sets always have lots of fantastic accessories you can add to a scene card. Thanks for joining me today for this card featuring the Mama Elephant Summer Days stamps and dies. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Mama Elephant that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.